Wolo, the world's best travel bar by far, according to the box they came in. According to me, it's a terrible travel bar. It's a good meal replacement snack, but for traveling? No, I'll tell you why in a moment. Welcome, I'm John Health and Fitness. Today we're talking about Wolo, the Wanderbar with an A, Wanderbar. It's actually a decent meal replacement snack. I like it, I'll be getting it again. But I'm not going to depend on it for travel. Before we get to all that, down in the description I'll have timestamps so you can skip ahead to the section you're interested in. Now let's get to the highlights. Highlight number one has to be, for a bar that's advertised as being great for travel, you do not want to travel with this. You do not want to stick it in a backpack. You don't want to leave it in a hot car. You don't want to leave it in a warm car. You don't want to leave it in your hands too long because it warms it up and causes problems. That said, it's actually, number two highlight, a decent meal replacement snack. 200 calories is a decent amount. It's got good high protein. It's got high fiber. It's got a kind of innovative layering to it with some crunchy and chewy parts. But that's part of its undoing as far as travel goes. I'll get to that more in a moment. Let's get to what's in it. The macros look pretty good. It varies a little bit from bar to bar, but basically 15 grams of protein. 15 is my cutoff to consider something a protein bar, a high protein bar. 23 to 24 grams of carbs. That's perfectly fine unless you're on a super low carbohydrate diet. Typically have 11 to 12 grams of fiber. I'm personally a fan of fiber. Americans in particular get way less fiber than they should. 11 gets you well on your way to what you should have. Basically a third about what you should have. 2/3 of what the average American gets. So I like that. And it actually might help when you're traveling. As long as you're careful about it. 10 grams of fat, that's kind of high, but it's okay for this kind of bar. 220 calories in total. Makes it a decent meal replacement snack. That's a good caloric punch. Good for a snack. What's actually in it? Well, it's got a pretty long ingredient list. Nothing here jumps out at me. One exception, I'll point out the stevia. This has a fairly low amount of stevia as far as I can tell in terms of flavor, but if you really don't like stevia, you might want to avoid this one. It does have a certain sweetness to it. Taste and texture, well, as I mentioned before, texture's kind of cool. Let me open this one up for you. You can see the layers. So it's got this kind of crunchy part down below and this chewy part on the top. But tear it apart, right? Sticky top part, crunchy lower part. I actually rather like this one. Flavored, also not bad. Again, unless you really hate stevia. I can barely notice it. There's a Choco Crunch one. Not bad. Again, crunchy, chewy, it's a nice combination. This chewy top part, that's part of its undoing when it comes to travel. Here, let me show you something. This is a Wanderbar I left inside a cabin on an 82-degree day. This cabin's not air conditioned, but also wasn't sitting out in the sun. It was in the shade, lots of trees around it. It got really, really sticky. Really sticky, to the point where it was peeling the top off of it. This was in a relatively warm cabin. Let me contrast that with a chocolate-covered bar. One of the things that the makers highlight is how it's not chocolate-covered, making it better for travel. I get that. I avoid packing chocolate-covered things when I know they're going to be sitting in a hot car or some other hot environment. I happen to have a chocolate-covered bar with me on the same trip. It was in the same warm cabin. It was fine. And that's real chocolate. That wasn't fake chocolate, waxy chocolate. That's a really good bar there. I'll put a link up to it when I have a video on that ready. Even just holding your hand for a while. Here I'll show you. Started peeling off a regular bar, kind of like the one I just ate. Not bad. It peels up no problem. If you hold it in your hand for a while, just the heat from your fingers make it kind of sticky and you start pulling off parts of the bar up into the wrapper. I honestly don't understand that part. I mean, they had to have taken this bar and left it in some kind of hot environment, opened up their own packaging and noticed this. But that all said, I like this bar. I'll be buying it again. This whole thing about being a travel bar, no. It's really not made for it. It's actually getting sticky in my hands right now. It's just not made for that. But otherwise, yeah, sure. Good bar. I'll have a link to it down in the description, in fact, because I eat it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.